Hi, this is Shira Rubinoff. I'm here with Charlotte Baker, Chief Executive Officer at Digital Hands. Charlotte, it's such a pleasure to talk to you again.
Fantastic to be back with you again. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you. So, Charlotte, as we know, the cybersecurity world is ever evolving with new threats, bad actors, security needs, and solutions all vying for center stage and attention at any given time. So, what do you see shifting from your vantage point in this very, very busy industry?
Well, there has been a fundamental shift over the last 3 years. There's been an extensive focus on response and recovery. What we're seeing with conversations with our clients is really a focus around predictive abilities and prevention, stopping the incident response planning in the first place. The best IR plans are the ones that you don't have to execute. And so this shift away from just dealing with response and the duplication of tool sets and investments, capital expenditures and investments in many different point solutions really is coming to a halt. We are seeing a shift with doing more with less, and specifically, focusing on that preventative area. Um, right now the awareness is high. We've exited that state of awareness. Everyone knows of the threats. Everyone knows that they are picking up in terms of pace, and threat landscape changes daily. Not only is the awareness high, the frustration is high. The frustration with purchasing many different solutions for cyber protection, not being able to operationalize them, and most importantly, not really feeling like there is a return on investment. So I think we're seeing folks take a step back, looking at consolidating their purchases, looking at what they're renewing in terms of protective software, and really saying, let's get back to the basics of looking at preventative systems and making sure that we're planning in advance so that we can sleep at night, and not really focus so much on once it happens. Let's focus on preventing it from happening.
Certainly, being proactive in the cybersecurity stance. And those are very excellent points, and I couldn't agree more. So, how do you feel about simulation and organizations running simulations and the continuous running of that?
I'm a big fan. There are two staples in the toolbox that are vulnerability assessments and pen tests, and I think they will forever be there. They're important components. But the one thing that simulation allows you to do is to simulate a breach, simulate an attack, and take a look at where your policies and your content fail, and then make the necessary adjustments and shore things up. Um, Typically, for example, a pen test is an annual time constrained opportunity for you to take a look at your systems. What I love about simulations is that if done right, you can do them quarterly or even on demand. The metrics for getting back the results are hours, not days and months. And there isn't a heavy duty amount of credenza wear associated with it. It's pretty straightforward. Also, simulations are really, not just about looking at your tool sets and seeing if someone can get in. It really is about looking at how they perform, where they fail, and how they work in orchestration with other tool sets. And so, definitely a big fan of that. I think that is one of the biggest areas for letting people sleep at night in this area, in this era of where we're talking about prevention and predictive analytics.
And can you talk to the point, please, about some people feel or organizations feel, well, it's good enough for them. It's what we should do as well, like a one size fits all model. And I'm not a big fan of that. And I know you have your own perspective on that. And I know our audience would love to hear what you feel.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of one size fits one and only
Exactly.
one,
That's correct.
or one size fits none usually.
Yeah.
So, being able to tailor your solutions to areas that are unique to your industry or unique to your tool sets or your policies or your risk tolerance profile is key. And that is something, especially you mentioned earlier, simulations. You can pick, a number of simulations that are appropriate to you. You don't have, you shouldn't be looking at doing simulations that that provide low value response, low value reports back to you. One size fits one size fits none, whichever, pick which one. I think people are tired of these. Here's my package, here's my SKU, here's what you're buying, here's what you get. The business or government entity, they're really looking for their providers that are protecting them to understand their organization and custom to them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Make it meaningful, making it applicable, make it relevant. I think those three are sometimes what they're missing. So you said that beautifully. And vulnerability scanning and pen tests are standard tools for knowledge of areas to button up. So isn't that enough? Isn't that, could companies say, you know what, we've just done enough?
I think in yesteryear, when things weren't moving so quickly, it definitely could have been enough. I think again, as I mentioned earlier, the pen test, the problem with that is it's typically very time constrained. It's a set number of hours. You do it. It's a very expensive proposition. You do it once a year, and then what do you do for the rest of the year? What do you do for the other, 364 days? Vulnerability scanning, absolutely, it's a tool in the toolbox. It should be a part of your routine, and pen testing again should be a part of your routine, but it's not enough in this ever-changing landscape. It just can't keep up. The simulations that you had asked me about earlier really are around mapping it to known attacks, the MITRE attack framework. So if you're mapping to that, you're looking, you can actually run these simulations quarterly, you can run them monthly, or you could wake up in the middle of the night and say, I'm concerned about something, I'm seeing certain things, let's go ahead and run a simulation on a particular attack vector. So I don't think that it makes vulnerability scanning and pen testing a yesteryear option. I think that more real-time information is something that it supplements. And then together, if you look at all of those three categories together, I think it gives you a better picture of how to build your defense, your preventative defense.
Well, you certainly have great insight and perspective that you've shared with the audience, so thank you for that. And is there any little maybe cybersecurity tidbits or business tips or anything else you'd like to share with our audience today?
I really enjoyed us, covering this particular topic of simulation, but I would say, going back to that question you had about what are we seeing kind of the shifts. One of the interesting shifts is that in the B2C, in the business to consumer area, consumers have almost gotten numb to the letters that they receive in their home that say, your hospital or your law firm or accounting firm has been breached, or certain vendor you use has been breached, and here's how we're going to deal with it. Well, consumers have gotten used to it. The other trend that I'm seeing now that I think about it is in the B2B, it's a much more dangerous proposition, especially for businesses who are third-party suppliers for others, whether it's a government, state, federal, or local, or whether it's for another business. And in that certification process where you are certifying, you will be asked, have you been breached? You will be asked, about your security protocols. You will be asked about certifications. And not paying attention to this is making that supply chain acceptance harder and harder. And in the B2C, it's are people still shopping at Target? Are people still shopping at or dealing with vendors where they've had a breach? And the answer is yes. And so you could argue that the brand damage was minimal. There were some expenses, of course, huge expenses, but in the B2B, I think it's more than just the bottom line impact. It really is that ability to continue playing in the supply chain. And so that is another big shift that probably should have mentioned in that first question.
No, that was a wonderful share, and I thank you for that. And I know our audience thanks you for everything you've shared with us today. I very much enjoyed our conversation, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks, Shira. Good talking to you.